Good morning to you, everyone. This is Mike Romali here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for September 1st, 2019, recorded around 6:34 in the morning. We do still have a very dangerous Category 4, nearly a Category 5 hurricane. Dorian is continuing to move west at 8 miles an hour with a pressure of 934 millibars now, winds up to 150, or still at 150 miles per hour. The track for Hurricane Dorian has been shifted a little bit back to the west during the overnight hours at the 5 o'clock advisory package, and tropical storm warnings have been issued for portions of the Florida coast. I actually want to pull this up really quickly here. A little further towards the west, bringing a little bit more of the Florida peninsula into the cone, and you can see that is the cone of uncertainty right there, and that still extends well into central Florida. And I want to make it very clear that just because that this does not explicitly show landfall, it does not mean it cannot happen. I believe we will probably see hurricane watches issued for portions of the Florida East Coast during the day today. And also to note, interest elsewhere in southern and central Florida should continue to monitor progress of Dorian. Additional watches or warning may be required for portions of the Florida East Coast today. And this is also very necessary to know that hurricane force winds extend out 30 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend out 105 miles. With a track just slightly offshore, if this is slightly offshore, that's going to bring tropical storm conditions to the portions of the Florida East Coast. And looking at the wind speed probabilities, again, especially from Orange County to the east, basically from the I-4 corridor, Orange County, these areas all the way back towards the coast, there's the potential for tropical storm-like conditions. And I believe a tropical storm watch or tropical storm warning will be issued for the inland areas, possibly the inland areas, some of the inland areas later today or maybe even tomorrow. So we're going to have to continue to monitor the progress of that. Taking a look at the GFS guidance, and we'll zoom into the southern United States here. This is the GFS guidance, the 06Z run, the newest run of the GFS. And you can see it's still moving due west and eventually makes that turn. There's a caveat to this though. Dorian is a little bit kind of to the south of where this position is. And while that's a very subtle difference, that means all the difference for how close it really gets. No one knows for sure. What we do know is that there will be direct impacts from Dorian along the Florida East Coast. There will be direct impacts from Hurricane Dorian to the Florida East Coast, and potentially even inland portions from Orange County, Brevard County onwards. There could be direct impacts from Hurricane Dorian. But we'll go out to about 42 hours or 60 hours, and you can see between the 0Z and the 6Z runs showing a more dip towards the south, and that's going to be interesting to kind of keep trends on. That would bring some of the core onshore according to the GFS model. And if you look at the 10-meter wind here, this is the wind field, and Dorian's near hurricane force winds would actually be, and you can see it here. We'll try to zoom in just a little bit. There you go. You can still see tropical storm force winds, where hurricane force winds will kind of get to near the coast, right about here. So that might necessitate a hurricane watch or hurricane warning later during the day today. And again, you know, this is the trend from the 6Z or the 0Z to the 6Z, again showing that westerly trend. And even the European model suggested that will go out to about 72 hours here. And you can see that's a more subtle south and west turn, with tropical storm force winds extending out again about 100 miles or so, and the near hurricane force winds extending pretty much near the coast. It's going to be very interesting to monitor the progress of that, and you can see how Dorian's position is going to change. So the exact track, users and even the National Hurricane Center touched on this, the exact track of Dorian is still very uncertain in this area. A stalling hurricane in the Bahamas should never be trusted. And just to show you the HORF model, the HORF, the hurricane dynamic model, this is the 6Z run that's just running right now. And you can see it's pretty much in the same position. We'll go back to the 0Z model run, and that is pretty much in the same position, but you notice how over time that brings near landfall, and it actually does landfall a hurricane near Jacksonville. So again, just because the National Hurricane Center doesn't explicitly show, oh, Dorian's center is coming ashore here, this is still going to bring, even a track offshore like this will bring significant storm surge and significant flooding into portions of the Florida East Coast. And you can go to the 10-meter winds here and actually show you the hurricane force winds here by 72 hours are onshore. We actually back this up to about 60 hours. Here's the tropical storm force wind field right here. That tropical storm force wind field is onshore. So again, it is very important to very important to understand that Dorian's track is not set in stone, and there is still the possibility, as the Hurricane Center says, for a distinct landfall. And you can see here that additional watches or warnings may be required later today. And just referring back to the discussion once again, users should not focus on the exact track, since a Florida landfall is still a distinct possibility. all options are on the table right now, and given the fact that Dorian is still heading towards the west at 8 miles an hour and not really slowing down yet and taking that turn like it was supposed to 2 days ago, as it was forecast once 2 days ago, this could be something that could become a rather serious problem for portions of the Florida East Coast. The main problem right now is going to be the Grand Bahamas here, the Bahamian Islands now, about to get into the core of Hurricane Dorian in the next few hours, and this could be a very serious situation. I know Josh Morgan and a couple other chasers are down here in the Bahamas covering Dorian. This is going to be a very serious situation for the Bahamas. Flash flooding, everything points towards this being a catastrophic storm for the Bahamas, but we will continue to monitor exactly how far west this thing gets before it makes that turn. There's still a lot of question marks for Hurricane Dorian right now. That is going to be it from me. I will be back here for the 11 o'clock advisory package from the National Hurricane Center, which will be issued again at 11 o'clock. Hope you all have a safe rest of your morning, and I will be back around 11.